Shane van Gisbergen arrived at Circuit of the Americas carrying a streak that made him the most feared driver on road courses. 5 consecutive wins had created an aura of dominance, but one driver refused to follow the script, and by the end of the race, the streak was over. 5 straight road and street course victories had built an aura around the New Zealand driver. His ability behind the wheel looked almost effortless. Braking zones that troubled other drivers seemed simple for him. Tight corners that forced competitors to slow down dramatically were moments where van Gisbergen gained time. Lap after lap, he demonstrated a level of control that few drivers in NASCAR history have ever shown on road circuits. Heading into the race at Circuit of the Americas, many believed the streak would continue. COTA is one of the most technical tracks on the entire NASCAR schedule. The long back straight, the sharp hairpins, and the flowing corners demand precision. For a driver with van Gisbergen's background in international road racing, the track looked like another perfect opportunity. Fans expected another dominant performance. But racing rarely follows expectations. As the green flag dropped in Austin, the field immediately began battling for position through the famous uphill run into Turn 1. Drivers fanned out across the wide racing surface trying to gain an early advantage. The opening laps showed just how competitive the 2026 Cup Series field has become. While van Gisbergen quickly worked his way toward the front, another driver was showing equally impressive speed, Tyler Reddick. Reddick had already been building momentum early in the season. Known for his aggressive driving style and ability to attack corners with confidence, he looked completely comfortable at COTA. Each lap he pushed the limits of the car, finding speed through sections of the track where others struggled. Soon it became clear that the race might turn into a battle between two of the most talented drivers in the field. Van Gisbergen continued to display the qualities that had defined his winning streak. His braking points were precise. His lines through the corners looked smooth and controlled. When the field entered the more technical sections of the circuit, he seemed to glide through them while others fought to keep their cars stable. But Reddick refused to fade. Instead of watching the road course specialist disappear into the distance like many others had before him, Reddick matched his pace. Lap after lap, he remained within striking distance. The tension began to build as fans realized something unusual was unfolding. For the first time during this remarkable streak, Shane van Gisbergen had a rival who could challenge him throughout the race. Pit strategy soon became a crucial part of the battle. Teams analyzed tire wear, fuel windows, and track position. At a road course like COTA, every decision can dramatically change the outcome. A well-timed pit stop can place a driver in clean air, while a poorly timed one can trap them in traffic. Both teams executed their strategies carefully, keeping their drivers in contention. As the race entered its final stages, the focus shifted entirely to the front of the field. Reddick and van Gisbergen had separated themselves from most of the competition. The gap between them and the rest of the field created the sense that the entire race would be decided by their duel. Fans watching the broadcast could feel the intensity growing. Every corner mattered. Every braking point mattered. Every small mistake could decide the race. Van Gisbergen applied pressure whenever the opportunity appeared. His experience on road circuits allowed him to understand where overtaking chances might develop. Several times he positioned his car close behind Reddick entering key corners, looking for any sign of weakness. But Reddick remained composed. Instead of forcing risky moves or allowing the pressure to affect his rhythm, he focused on hitting every corner correctly. His car responded perfectly as he powered through the sweeping sections of the circuit. Each lap that passed without a mistake increased his confidence. For van Gisbergen, the situation was unusual. Throughout his streak, he often found himself controlling races from the front. Now he had to chase a driver who was delivering one of the strongest performances of the season. The laps continued to count down. Inside the cockpit, both drivers understood what was at stake. For van Gisbergen, it was the opportunity to extend one of the most remarkable road course streaks NASCAR had ever seen. 6 consecutive wins on these types of tracks would have further cemented his reputation as the ultimate road course specialist. For Reddick, the stakes were just as significant. Beating van Gisbergen on a road course had become one of the toughest challenges in the series. If he could hold the lead until the checkered flag, he would not only win the race but also end a streak that many believed might continue for much longer. The final laps created a dramatic showdown. Van Gisbergen pushed harder, searching for any possible opening. He attacked the braking zones with precision, attempting to close the small gap that separated him from the leader. Through the complex sequence of corners that define COTA, he looked for opportunities to pressure Reddick into a mistake. But the American driver held firm. Reddick drove with remarkable focus as the race reached its conclusion. Each corner was executed with careful precision. He protected his position through the most important sections of the track while maintaining the speed necessary to keep Van Gisbergen behind him. When the white flag signaled the final lap, the tension reached its peak. One more circuit around the challenging Texas track would decide the outcome. Van Gisbergen remained close, continuing to push his car to the limit. The final lap offered a last chance to challenge for the lead. Fans watching knew that a single aggressive move could change everything, but as the cars raced through the final corners, Reddick maintained his advantage. Moments later, he crossed the finish line first, securing a hard-fought victory at Circuit of the Americas. Behind him, Shane van Gisbergen finished second. The result marked the end of his incredible streak of 5 consecutive road course victories in the NASCAR Cup Series. For months, he had dominated these events, building a reputation that made him the driver everyone expected to beat. At COTA, that dominance was finally interrupted. Yet the second-place finish still demonstrated how competitive Van Gisbergen remains. Despite the loss, his performance allowed him to make a major jump in the championship standings. After entering the weekend sitting 16th in points, he surged up to 5th following the race. That kind of movement in the standings highlights the importance of strong finishes early in the season. It also shows that Van Gisbergen remains firmly in the championship conversation. Even though the winning streak has ended, his speed and skill on road courses continue to make him one of the most dangerous drivers in the field. For Tyler Reddick, the victory carried enormous significance. Defeating the most dominant road course driver in NASCAR at one of the most demanding tracks on the schedule sends a powerful message to the rest of the field. It confirms that Reddick has the ability to challenge anyone when the opportunity arises. The race at COTA may ultimately become one of the defining moments of the 2026 season. It demonstrated the competitive balance within the Cup Series. Even during periods when one driver appears nearly unbeatable, another competitor can rise to the challenge and deliver a performance that changes the narrative. Fans will remember the event not only for the end of Van Gisbergen's streak, but also for the thrilling battle that produced the result. Moments like this remind everyone why motorsports remains so compelling. Speed alone is never enough. Talent, strategy, composure, and determination all play critical roles. On this particular afternoon in Texas, Tyler Reddick combined those elements perfectly. Shane van Gisbergen may have lost the race, but his performance ensured that his reputation as one of the greatest road course drivers in NASCAR remains intact. Finishing second after pushing the leader throughout the event shows that he is still capable of competing for victories every time the series visits a road circuit. The championship season continues to unfold with many races still ahead. New challenges will appear as the schedule moves to different tracks with different demands. Oval races, short tracks, and super speedways will all test drivers in unique ways. For Van Gisbergen, the goal now shifts from extending a streak to pursuing a championship. Climbing from 16th to 5th in the standings demonstrates how quickly fortunes can change in NASCAR. For Reddick, the victory provides momentum and confidence. The knowledge that he defeated the road course king at COTA will remain a powerful reminder of what he is capable of achieving. As the 2026 season continues, the rivalry between these two talented drivers could become one of the most fascinating storylines in the sport. Fans will watch closely the next time the series arrives at another road course. Many will wonder whether Van Gisbergen will start a new winning run. Others will be curious to see if Reddick can repeat his success. One race ended a streak, but it also opened the door to a new chapter in the NASCAR Cup Series season.